And that is what the secrets of efficiency is all about. It's how well can you focus on what you're doing.
How about a couple tips on how to eliminate these distractions?
Well, turn off the TV, number one.
Okay.
Yeah. Only check your emails at certain times and stick with that. The same thing with turn off on your computer, turn off all those little notifications that can come up. You know, and schedule times when you check your social media and stick with that.
So, you know, I anytime I can work in a question about how to manage my inbox with a guest of the show, I'll do that. And so, you know, this is perfect. I struggle with something I believe a lot of people struggle with. There was like this tipping point a year and a half ago or whenever it was. Like, I used to have a clean inbox. And just all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but I struggle with, you know, keeping up with email. So I'm sure you must deal with this a lot with your clients.
I deal with it myself. I get about anywhere between 100 to 150 emails a day myself. So I know exactly what you're talking about. First of all, when you get any kind of a junk mail, any kind of a spam, don't just click it away. Assign it the spam designation. So in the future, your system already eliminates that.
So set up a filter so that it...
Absolutely, you have to have a filter there, yes.
Okay.
And use the filter and work the filter. Number one. Number two is once you have looked at an email, you have to do something with it. You cannot just leave it there and go, I'll answer it later. No, you looked at it. Your motive of operation has to be do it now, do it only once.
Okay.
Right? If you open the email...
This is one of those gold nuggets that will apply to a lot of other things, I'm sure. Do it now, do it only once.
Do it only once,
okay.
Right. So if you open the email, well, you're stuck with it. You got to do something. Right? And whatever you have to do, you do it. If it is a complex thing, at least do the first step and then plan out when you do the next ones. But do something with it. And once you have done something with the email, either delete it or sort it, store it where it should be. Right? Now, there's all kinds of different schools out there. They say, well, you know, we figure out the function and then store it within the function. I have found, again, coming back to the concept of hats, that it is the hats that are the most senior way to operate with and store by and sort by. So you have to work out what are the hats that you wear, the major hats you have. And then under these hats...
What are some examples of hats?
Well, you are the CEO, is one hat. Yeah, you have a sales hat. You have a marketing hat. You have a finance hat. You have an HR hat if you hire people also, right? All of these things have to be addressed and they have to be there. Depending on what kind of work you do, you may have another hat. You may be a doctor, you have a doctor hat, right? But your doctor hat is not your most major hat. It's your major production hat, but not the major hat in how you run your business.
Okay.
Right?
And so now how does this apply to the email folders?
What you do is you go to your most senior folder that you have on the left, which is usually personal inbox or something like that. And you right-click on that, and then you click on New Folder. And by making a new folder, you first use the underline symbol. That's the first thing you put there, and then you put the name of the hat there. And then you click OK. The underline symbol is the senior symbol that computer uses in sorting. It's even more senior than numbers.
Okay.
So anything that has an underline goes all the way to the top.
Got it.
Right? So now all your hats are sorted alphabetically at the top. Now you have subfolders under your hats. So now you click on the hat itself, right-click on that one then, and establish the subfolders that you need to have. And sometimes they are subfolders, right? Depending how complex the whole operation is. And then you click and drag these emails into the appropriate folder. So if you need to find it...
And this is just for storage. This is after you've accomplished your task associated to that email. Okay.
Right.
Just for storage.
Right, just for storage. So if you need to find that email, it's very easy. You just ask yourself, which hat does it belong to?
Got it. Very good. Now you recommend, and I'm wondering if this applies to email as well, you recommend don't file anything miscellaneous or temporary.
No, that's like a black hole. You know, you start filing there, and this thing is just going to grow and take over your life. Yeah. Again, you have your hats, and you use that same concept with everything you file, whether it's hard copies, whether it's the document files on the computer, whether it's email. Everything is under the same concept, and then it becomes very easy. If it takes you longer than 5 seconds to find anything or to know where to file it, your system is flawed.
You mentioned earlier something that I think is really powerful, and I'm sure applies to a lot of other areas. You said, do it now, do it only once. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, whatever you do, if you decide that that's what you're doing, you have to do it. If you pick up a piece of paper, and you have to do something with it, you cannot put it down again. I mean, how many times have you picked up the same piece of paper and looked at it and wondered why it was still there and it didn't disappear? Yeah, especially if you didn't have a windowsill where you could put it, where the sun would shine on it and fade it, so you couldn't read it anymore.
Right.
Yeah, that's all time that you could spend for something else.
Yeah. Do you see this really as a common thing? Because I want to know that I'm not alone.
Oh,
really.
oh, absolutely. Piles, you know, any kind of piles are a result of that.
Yeah.
Right? And the thing is, every time you picked up a piece of paper and you didn't process it, some of your attention is now stuck on that piece of paper. And the more pieces of paper you have piled up there, more of your attention is stuck on it. And since our mind work like a computer works like a mind, I don't care which way you want to look at that, a computer has random access memory. And every time you open up a file, it takes up some of the memory. And if you keep on opening up files and applications and you don't close any, you get to the point where your RAM is filled. And then your computer won't work anymore or gets very, very slow. Right?
Right.
Right? So same thing with us. If we start getting more and more distracted, if we feel more and more weighed down, as a matter of fact, the reason that's happening is we have our RAM is loaded, right? And we need to start closing some of these files.
Got it.
Right.
Now, I know that you brought along some toys. We're going to take a break.
Okay.
And when we come back, Gerhard is going to share his toys that he brought along with him so that he can illustrate this struggle that we all deal with when it comes to efficiency. And I think that this exercise is going to help a lot of you out there. So you're watching We Mean Business. We'll be back in seconds.